Welcome to the newsroom. I got 4 stocks that are high risk but big reward. Let's find out which one is the best. Let's dig in. Okay, let's face it. When a company gets approved for a vaccine for the current rona, it's going to skyrocket. We all know this. It's going to rocket probably 5x, 10x, 20x. It depends on the market capitalization of that company. If it's a small company, it could grow exponentially. 10x, 20x. If it's a big company, it's going to grow as well, but not as rapid as a smaller company. So there's about 8 biotech stocks that are in the running. They're in the race for the rona vaccine, but I divided it. I don't want to look at the big companies. We all know the big companies. So today we're going to look at the small companies, the little fish. We got the big fish, the whales, and then we got the little fish, the little guppies. So let me show you a little chart. I divided them, and we're going to take a look at them. So first, here's this article. There are now 23 vaccine candidates in clinical testing. That's a lot. That's too much. Here's a graph I found online of the top 8. We got Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, GSK, whoever this Hong Kong one is, Sinovac, and Novavax. All right, there's the top 8 right there. I broke it up. We got the big fish on the left. We got the little fish on the right. Now look at the market capitalization. They're saying that an estimate of $5 billion in sales per year on whoever makes this vaccine. Massive numbers. So $5 billion per year on this Johnson & Johnson is a little penny in the bucket. It's not a lot. Moderna, $36 billion. That can grow. BioNTech, that could grow at $19 billion. And AstraZeneca at $160 billion. That could grow as well. But if we look at the right, at the little fish, the little algae eaters, the little guppies, look at this. We got IBIO, we got Vaxart, we got INO, and we got Novavax. In comparison to the big boys, very small companies. Yes, the big boys have other drugs they're making, which is why they're so big. But let's focus on the little guys because we want to make a lot of money. So I broke this down in categories. IBIO is in manufacturing and producing the vaccine. Vaxart, oral vaccine. INO and Novavax vaccine. So I did a comparison chart so you could see which one is leading and which one is lagging. We have the color coding on the top left here. We have IBIO, Vaxart, INO, and Novavax. Looks like Novavax is in a strong lead. Trailing behind is IBIO. So imagine if IBIO gets some good news, get something promising happening. This thing's going to skyrocket beyond belief. Pretty obvious, right? And then the other two, INO and Vaxart, chilling in the middle. Vaxart made a crazy run recently, like 50% moves in a day, and Novavax is on a crazy run as well. I remember trading these things a year ago when they were dollars. Now the reason why this is high risk, big reward, because if you noticed, when Moderna dropped news, the other guys kind of came down a bit. So for example, let's say Novavax is the one that came up with the cure, the vaccine. They drop it, everything else, what do you think's gonna happen? They're all gonna fall because they lost. It's no fun being second. Yes, they could come up with it as well and help with distribution, more the merrier, but when that news is announced, the others are gonna fall. That's just how it goes. That's why it's high risk, big reward, because one of these 8 is most likely gonna be the winner. There's many others, but most likely one of these top dogs, probably a Moderna, but if it's one of these little guys, all the rest are going to fall. You have to pick and choose which one's the best. I'm going to go over the technicals and try and help in that way. But you have to look at the data, look at the phases, the trials, and see which one is the most promising. And that's where I'm going to put my money. So let's pull up some technicals and see which one of these little fishes is going to swim the hardest. So IBIO is working on 2 potential paths to success with the COVID-19 vaccine. The company is working around the clock to develop 2 potential vaccines to combat the respiratory blah, blah, blah. So IBIO is looking to reap the most benefits in mass production of the vaccine. Right here in this article, it says IBIO is currently not a front runner because you got all the big dogs playing against these little fish. I've been trading this thing for some time. I own this in the 140s, the 150s, the 180s, the 190s. I haven't owned it since it did this crazy run. All right, so looking at this chart, it went all the way down to $1 after it did that run, and then it did this nice half pipe formation, swooped all the way up. Now it's peaking around 4. One thing to notice here is that it did clear previous resistance from its first initial rally in March from 50 cents to 350 to current day. It broke through that. It broke through that resistance of 344, it looks like. Now it's at 391. Now it's kind of hard to tell what's a price target? Where's this going to go? Because there's no more resistance above this area. This thing could just keep going ballistic. Zooming in, we can see it's following this nice trend line, and I could see something like this. No news in this case is actually good news, because now we have momentum. We have people jumping in all these companies, hoping that one of them get picked for this vaccine. And momentum is driving all these prices up. And when they start dropping results, the results could be good or bad. I don't really want to be in that position personally. I'd rather be riding the wave of hype. So if momentum continues, I could see it maybe coming back down to this trend line and then heading up for a $5 price target. Nice round number. I like my round numbers. And hit 5. That's possible on no news. Just momentum of people getting in, hoping that this company does something big in this pandemic. And its market cap of only 500 million, if this company gets selected in helping to mass produce this vaccine, 500 million is peanuts compared to what it could be. So the next one, we got Vaxart. This is the oral vaccine, okay? A little strange, taking it by the mouth, but I guess I prefer that than getting shot in the arm. $15 share price, $1 billion market cap. Decent market cap, plenty of room to grow looking at the big fish. This could be a 20, 40 billion, $50 billion company. $5 billion in sales per year. Just in 1 year, $5 billion, they could 5x. So Vaxart is claiming, other than the liquid injection, you could do oral tablets. I mean, I'd rather take a pill than a shot. Think about vitamins. You take them by the mouth. It's easy. You got the Flintstones, you got the gummies. You don't even think that you're taking a medicine. It's just like a little chewable, like bubble gum. You know, you take a shot in the arm, you're dizzy for days. You're dizzy, you're sick. I mean, you'll probably get sick still from the mouth. You are taking a virus. All right, let's look at the technicals on Vaxart. So we have a decent support on Vaxart at $14. I could see it doing another wave coming down, back to that, testing that 14 support, and then running back up. If it runs the same distance of momentum, its trajectory is at 25. And this is without news. This is just momentum. All these stocks that I do these price targets on, this is just momentum. This is not news. If they drop news, it's going to go way higher. All right, next one, INO. Inovio has thrown its hat into the coronavirus vaccine ring with big pharma names like Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Pfizer. Fighting with the big boys. Okay, to play in the ring with the big boys, you got to come with the big guns. Inovio has taken a different tactic compared with other coronavirus vaccine makers. It's making a vaccine using pieces of DNA. The method could be promising. In late June, said 94% of phase 1 study participants showed an immune response after receiving 2 doses of its vaccine. If you want to make a lot of money, these are your boys to get into. If you want to lose a lot of money, these are the boys you're going to get into. These are the stocks to get into. That's better. Technical wise, INO, we got a resistance at 31.85. It's currently trading at 26. It's going to have a little trouble there, I feel. It's going to come down, continue the trend line, and head up. It could test 37.94. Quick analysis on Inovio. A lot of these stocks are breaking out of all-time highs, previous resistances, and they're in a no man's land to where they're so high up, no one knows where they're going to go, but up. So INO had positive early trial results in which 94% of participants generated an immune response in 6 weeks after receiving 2 doses. And they did this testing in animals. However, INO did not mention how many participants were in this study. So it could have been 1. So INO is part of Operation Warp Speed. It sounds like some type of crazy Mission Impossible Tom Cruise thing, but Operation Warp Speed is a government program where it's picking candidates that are working on these rona cures. They're giving them money, and INO is one of them. So they got $71 million from the government. All right, next one, Novavax. This is the final one. Novavax sprint to develop an effective and safe rona cure has drawn considerable attention and scrutiny. Critics are concerned because the company has never released a vaccine to the public in its 33 years of business, which shows it doesn't have a successful track record. So they never released a vaccine. It's a long shot. It's a 33-1 odd in the horse race. Do you want the long shot or do you want the safe bet? So this is another Warp Speed member. So listen to this. Operation Warp Speed, the government's effort to help bring a vaccine to market by January, awarded the biotech company $1.6 billion. That's more than $1.2 billion it offered to big pharma rival AstraZeneca and $483 million awarded to Moderna. So they got the most money for Operation Warp Speed. They got $1.6 billion. Let's go back to that chart and see what the market cap's at for Novavax. So Novavax is at $8 billion. They got almost $2 billion just in funding. That's why their share price is at 142. It was just at like 75 a week ago or something. If I'm going to make a prediction, I'm thinking Moderna, or Novavax, if I'm going to pick, personally. But the cool thing is, it might not even be a company we even heard of. There's so many. There's like 30 of these guys. It could be some Bill Nye guy, a little scientist in a dark closet, mixing chemicals. All right, quick technicals on Novavax. You see we're following this nice trend line here. It could do one of two things. It could continue to run up aggressively in the white line, or it could come back down and find that support trend line in the yellow. I'm seeing a price target of 160 if the Rona cases continue, positive news continues, or no news. Either way, momentum will drive this up. Hype of missing out on this possible opportunity will continue to drive this up. And the reason why I'm saying 160 is because of the previous resistance back in September of 2016. It had trouble at 160. Like I said, when it breaks out of all areas in recent times, it's hard to figure out where that resistance is when it's at an all-time high. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe so you can stay up to date with what's going on in the news. And you'll also be a little bit closer to retiring young.